everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted. Today is Sunday, December 10th, and the Michigan State Spartans have just fallen to 4-5 on the season with a 77-70 loss to Nebraska. Um, so just to start, first time in the last 11 games so Nebraska's beat Michigan State. Um, I don't really even know where to start, Johnny. It's been a tough day. If anyone out there hates me, they're gonna love listening to this because I've had not a good day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where to start either. There's just so much wrong right now with this team, and we keep talking about the issues and all these losses, but today it almost feels like rock bottom. It's what it feels like. Everyone kept, if you lose to Duke, you lose to Arizona, you lose to Wisconsin, you're like, all right, it's gotta stop eventually, and it just got worse. And there's just so much that needs to be talked about with this team.
Yeah, so if we want to go into the game a little bit, another slow start for Michigan State. A little bit, those first 4 or 5 minutes again were pretty tough. And then they started to knock down some shots. We saw a Tyson Walker struggle in the first half. He only had 2 points. But the rest of the team, Malik Hall specifically, Hall at 11 in the first half. He looked really strong. Walker and Hogard, or Akins and Hogard, excuse me, they both had 7 points on efficient shooting. They both hit a three in the first half, which was good to see. And the field goal percentage was a lot better overall tonight for the Spartans, especially from the 3-point line. But yeah, another slow start, but they ended up going into the halftime locker room with the 34-31 lead. Johnny, what did you see from the first, or I guess, like, did anything stick out to you from the first half?
Yeah, I mean, the first half, I thought the offense looked better, right? I thought the Wisconsin game, and we'll get into that, was probably the worst performance of the year on both sides of the ball. But I thought the offense it looked much better. There was a lot more movement, right? AJ was attacking. Right. He got a couple of early buckets going to the basket. Akins was looking to shoot. Obviously, you talked about Walker's struggles through the game, right? He got hot late in the game, but Malik looked great, right? You know, so there was a lot to like offensively, I felt like. Defensively, there was a lot of question marks, and I think that's kind of shocking the past 2 days to see a lot of question marks defending when I thought kind of that was our calling card the first 8 games or whatever it was, 7 games of the year. Just too many simple mistakes, right? How many back cuts did Wisconsin get? How many back cuts did Nebraska get tonight? And that's just simple defense, right? Jumping to the ball, it's chasing. It's just the fundamentals tonight, on defense. The past 2 nights kind of been let down.
Yeah, it Nebraska also in the first half hit a couple just wild threes. Just had no business going in. And you hit a couple of those shots and then you get a little bit of confidence, and like you said, Nebraska was pretty active in cutting to the hoop and getting to the basket, and they were catching Michigan State sleeping. And yeah, we've talked about it throughout the first however long of the season, first part of the season, how defense is this team's specialty and how they're going to win games. And then to see that tonight was just, and again, like the Wisconsin game, was just crazy to see. It was just so backwards from what we've seen. I mean, Michigan State shot, like, they shot 47% from three tonight, 8 of 17. I mean, that was what we thought the problem was, and it was not the problem tonight. So yeah, it feels pretty tough over here in East Lansing. People are not feeling great. Yeah, so second half, Nebraska came out of the locker room down three, and they came out strong in the second half. We saw a few back cuts, like you were talking about. They caught Aiken sleeping a few times, and like a couple times in a row, and were able to get some layups. Nebraska took the lead with like 18 minutes left, and then didn't lose the lead until like 5 minutes left in the game. When Walker hit a couple threes. I mean, Johnny, I need you to take this. I'm struggling right now, man. I am struggling. The Lions losing to the Bears, and now this. My mind is not not in a good place right now, Johnny. I need you to help me out.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the second half start, almost like we switched the script, right? Usually we start off bad in the first half and come out hot in the second half. It almost flips. Awful start to the half, playing from behind, trying to play catch up. And we did, of course, we did like we always do, right? Walker gets hot, goes on a little 8-0 run himself, but just again defensively, just a couple of times, it's just these little lapses, and it's tough to put into words, really. But I think you got to talk a little bit about this roster at the center spot, and I don't know how many minutes they played tonight combined, Sissoko and Cooper. It's not really showing. I don't know if it's showing for you, but in the app, they
No, I'm
show.
not. I'm not seeing minutes pop up.
Unfortunately, I guess maybe because the game's on Big Ten Network, they don't get those. But I'll be interested to see later. Oh, here's the minutes, actually. Here we go. I mean, Cooper played 12 and Mahdi played 13. And that's a no fault. That's because of how they didn't give you anything, right? Usually we see them splitting almost to 40 minutes a game, right? Maybe just under that. And that's them playing 25 minutes with a real center. And I think that shows you tonight how they just couldn't give you anything. And I think as well if Malik played, right? And I like the small ball lineup. I think unfortunately you're gonna have to play it more, but it's hard to do it because we're just undersized. And you saw that guy on Nebraska kind of take over towards the end of the game because he's just undersized tall and there's nothing you could do.
Yeah, so that was something I wrote down was the small ball lineup. We've seen it a few times, and tonight I think we saw it more. It was against Wisconsin and Nebraska the last two games. We've really seen it a lot. And yeah, like you said, Mast, their big man, was just able to feast. He had 14 rebounds. And you compare that to Mahdi had three and Cohen or Carson Cooper. Carson Cooper had 0 rebounds. Carson Cooper had 0 rebounds. So let that sink in. And that's coming off of a game where Michigan State got out rebounded. Hold on, let me find it. 36-22. And Izzo said after the game they're going to get the shoulder pads out. And their second center had 0 rebounds. I don't yeah, that's just kind of where it's at. I like it's a hard to really describe. I'm almost speechless. I'm almost never left speechless, and right now I don't really know what to say. I mean, yeah, so overall, I mean, Bryce Williams, he had a big three late in the game. Nebraska retook the lead and they never left it. They never lost it. They were able to close out, and Michigan State just not able to. They're just they can't find anything right now. They just seem like a lost team right now, and it's gonna take some big time soul searching between now and Saturday because schedule only gets tougher.
Yeah, I mean, obviously look ahead a little bit to Baylor, but again, late game situation, not being able to pull through, right? We saw it versus Arizona, you saw it through Duke, you claw your way back, and obviously we didn't have to do it that much tonight, but under 2 minutes, couple of bad possessions, and you lose. That's the game right there. I think one of them, Walker, just couldn't really get downhill, a little bit too much dribbling, and it just stays stagnant all of a sudden, right? I thought, it was one of the better games where people were moving. You had AJ getting to the basket, right? You cut. It just moves. The ball was moving, and in those last 2 minutes, it wasn't. People standing. It's a lot easier to defend if everyone's standing, and you don't get a good look. They get it. They make one, and all of a sudden you're down 4. They make their foul shots, and that's over.
Yeah, and we talked about this previously, when we talked about their collapsing in the last couple minutes, not being able to finish it off. I shouldn't really call them collapses. I should just say not being able to finish games this season and the end of last year is Tyson just kind of takes over, and it really just becomes a one-man show. And if he, like you said, he had a possession where he couldn't really get downhill, he had to pull up and take not so great mid-range look, and he missed it. And then Nebraska gets fouled and just kind of adds, it just gets us down in that hole more. So I, yeah, overall, I mean, Malik Hall had a great game, 22 points. He was 7 of 14 from the field. Walker had 15 in the 17, 15 in the second half. Hogard had 12 and Akins at 10. Hogard 5 of 10 from the floor. I will say though, on a bit of a brighter note, I absolutely love watching Tominaga play. That guy's awesome. I hate that he had to beat Michigan State. He had 15 tonight, but he's just so fun to watch, pulling up from everywhere, taking crazy shots and putting a bunch of arc under him and just knocking down big shots.
No, he has no fear shooting the basketball. And, I think sometimes you see our guys have the opposite luck of not wanting to shoot, right? Wanting to get a better one. And sometimes, I think Fears is still learning, right? He played, I don't think he looked really good today, which sometimes, it's
He
tough. He's
looked
a
he
freshman.
looked like a freshman early in his
Yeah,
college career.
he
Yeah.
did. And, I think we haven't really seen him that much do that, but he's got to look to shoot the three, right? I mean, Trey, he got some decent minutes tonight, had a couple just good looks in the, mid range, going to the basket. We keep talking about, the main guys, and yeah, they got to play well, obviously, but when we're not going to get any production from the center spot and you're not going to get any production from the bench, it's like, we all thought going into the year, right? Talent from top to bottom, and
That so much talked about.
Booker isn't playing, and that's people could talk about that, but Carr, I thought Carr played pretty well. He had 21 minutes, right? He was in that small ball lineup, but he doesn't really give you much offensively either, other than he had the alley oop and he had the one pull up, which was nice, but he doesn't really look to score. Holloman was 1 of 5 as I'm looking at this, and then Fears, and you're not getting any production outside your top 4 guys, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a massive problem. Tonight they had, quick math, 9 bench points. Like that just can't happen. Especially when you have also, I wrote this down, Cooper and Sissoko, they combined for 2 points. And then against Wisconsin, they combined for 4 or 5 and they both took one shot from the field against Wisconsin. There's literally no post offense for Michigan State. The offense is just if Walker Hogard and it's just Walker Hogard and Akins, they are asked to do everything, and Malik Hall. Those 4 are pretty much just tasked with the entire offense. It's all guards, it's all perimeter. There's just no post presence, and it's confusing. I see why people are talking about Xavier Booker he's this highly recruited or highly touted recruit, 5-star big man, and he's just not playing. Obviously I don't know what's going on. I'm not at practice. I haven't seen what Book is looking like or if there's something else going on, but whatever it might be, he's not playing. And obviously Kohler with the foot injuries was they said out till Christmas. I haven't seen an update on that. I don't know if you have. Have you?
I mean, it sounds like, I think Izzo spoke the other day saying that he's progressed as they expected and that there was a chance he'd be back before Christmas. But I mean, I don't know if you have any other games after Baylor. I'm not sure there is one before Christmas.
Yeah, I think the next game's
I
probably
would
after
think I
Christmas.
would think their goal is probably right after Christmas, which
Yeah.
is, there's no Power 5 teams there, but there's some good games. I mean, Indiana State could bring us another scare at the Breslin after Christmas, which will be one to look out for. But it'll be interesting to see whether when Kohler comes back, can he I just saw on Twitter quickly Izzo's presser basically saying he talked about the center position not giving you anything, and yeah, that's a talking point, and it's going to be and whether Kohler can really come back and will he take over that job right away? What can he give you offensively? Because we've seen that in the past, good footwork in the paint, right? He actually has some moves in the down low. But what's he going to be like defensively? I think that was an issue last year with him as he's an undersized big two a little bit. So that would be a big talking point once he's healthy. And as we just try and find a way to get some help right now.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook for this college basketball season. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks and predictions throughout the college basketball season. And we are going to have special offers for you, the listeners and the viewers on the Field of 68 each and every week during the season. If you haven't signed up with BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FIELD1500 and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager on BetMGM Sportsbook. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD1500. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FIELD1500 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today.
Yeah, so let's go back to Tuesday. Michigan
Do we
State.
have to?
Yeah, let's real quick. We're going to talk about it very fast. This past Tuesday, Michigan State hosted number 23 Wisconsin, and the Badgers came in and took down the Spartans 70-57. You said it earlier. I think it's the best way of putting it. It was simply the worst performance of the season, a season that has not been great. Michigan State offensively looked extremely stagnant. Their field goal percentage, I don't think was actually terrible. It was 45%, which isn't awful. And they only had 8 turnovers. But again, just no center and just getting off to a slow start. And the story of this game, I said it earlier, was more the rebounding and physicality. Stephen Crowell had a field day, 18 points. He was 4 for 4 from 3. That was something Cooper and Sissoko were really struggling to get out on him and cover the 3-point line. Wisconsin I wrote down they went 14 of 14 from the free throw line, took care of business there. And AJ Storr, really the star of the game, 22 points on 8 of 11 shooting and 4 for 6 from deep. Wisconsin just came in and kicked Michigan State's behind. I don't really know how else to put it. I went to the game. I was there with my dad. I know you were there, right? Yeah, I went with my dad, and he's a grad of Michigan State. I'll put it this way. He was using a little colorful language throughout some of the game under his breath. He wasn't too happy.
No, none of us should have been after that game. I think for me, and you kind of touched on it, you could talk about the offense, and it wasn't good. It was probably but there was just no energy. I didn't think there was energy at all. There was one stretch in that second half, like always, right, where they got hot and they cut it to 3, and there was energy.
Yeah, Walker hit a 3, Hogarth hit a 3,
and they're pumping up the crowd, right,
Yep.
and the place is jumping. But other than that 3-4 minute stretch, other 36 minutes, there was nothing from the tip. You didn't see energy from Hogarth, right? We didn't see it from Akins and Walker. Obviously, they had a decent scoring out games, right? I think Walker had 22. Hogarth had some good amount of points.
Yeah, Hogarth had 14.
But there was just no energy, and there was no fight. And you mentioned the rebounding, 36-22. They had 11 offensive rebounds to our 5. Crowd bullied Marty and Cooper. I mean, he got down in the post, right? And he was 4 for 4 from three. So he got it from the outside. And then inside, he caused so many problems. Simple. He just used it, he backed them down, got him right under the freaking hoop, and they had no chance. And now he might not have as many points inside, but missed shots, he was in position for the offensive rebound every time. And the same second half, it was the same thing with Wall on Hall, because Wall had those two early first half fouls, and he didn't really play much in that first half. And he's one of their best players. He's been that way the past 4 years. And that second half, it was the same way. And Hall was under the weather, so he definitely, they said that, and he didn't start and he didn't have the greatest game. But that second half, he beat him up too. The same thing, inside, rebounding, and then just like tonight, the defense was just not there. Just simple back cuts, and they just kept doing the same thing, and it worked. Wing pick and roll, right? You went under, store three. Wing pick and roll, up, get downhill, or Wall in the short corner. How many times short corner, boom, back cut, layup. It just felt like you just kept watching the same play over and over again, and there was just no answer.
Yeah, it was a rough night. I mean, Izzo took much of the blame after that game, and like you said earlier, probably going to be doing that again tonight. I haven't been on Twitter since the game ended. Um, yeah, and then Wisconsin comes into East Lansing, dominates Michigan State, and then goes out to play Arizona and loses by 25. So I don't know what that's a testament to, because Michigan State lost by had a much closer game and played much better against Arizona. Then they look like that against Wisconsin. I mean, yeah, Arizona's a wagon, but I think Wisconsin's a good team. I mean, they were similar coming into the season to Michigan State, where they returned a lot of their production from last year with Crowell and Hepburn and Wall and AJ Storr. But yeah, things are starting to look bleak for Spartan fans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at Twitter right now, just getting some quotes from Izzo's presser, and a lot of the same things, right? He's talking about this. Another quote, it's a center position being disappointed. Not shocking. He says Aiken shot the ball better, but didn't look good defensively. Very similar. I mean, Aiken, I don't know. I don't know what's the issue there. If it's just not paying attention, right? Attention to detail, right? Jump into the ball. And then he talks about Booker saying he'll get opportunities moving forward. And that will be interesting to see. Because
Yeah,
I mean, I agree with the fact that I don't think he is ready. He's just, I don't know what he's ready for the Big Ten. It's just too physical. But at the same time, you're not going to get anything from Mahdi. You're not going to get anything from Cooper. He's obviously a much better attacking option.
and
I think
he's more talented for sure,
yeah,
just based
exactly.
off
So
recruiting.
I
We know
mean,
that.
I just think, you put him next to those four other guys, right? The four we keep talking about. How much worse can it get, really? I mean,
Yeah.
so I think that'll be interesting to see. I mean, he says looking forward, I mean, Baylor might be, I'm not sure Baylor is the opportunity for that.
No.
They are super deep. They have some really good bigs that are strong.
Yeah. And also
So
I have to make note of this. Starting Cooper and Sissoko against Wisconsin made it 0 sense. Yes, I know Hall was sick. He still played. I understand if you don't want to start him, but Izzo still played him. I think he played 25 minutes. He played a lot of minutes, Hall did. And Izzo after the game said, I take blame. He was sick. I shouldn't have played him that much. And he didn't start him because of it. And so instead he started Sissoko and Cooper. And it was just the worst lineup I've ever seen, maybe, for Michigan State. I mean, that's definitely an overreaction, but man, it's bad. Okay, let's talk about Baylor. So this Saturday, Michigan State's got this week off, exam week. Not for me and Johnny, journalism's. No, we're done. Whoop,
almost,
whoop.
almost.
Anyways, this Saturday, Michigan State will be taking on number 6 Baylor. The Bears are 9-0. The game also will be in Detroit at 2 p.m. neutral site game at Little Caesars Arena. You talked about the bigs a little bit, and I'll let you go into depth a little bit more on them. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the guards.
Ooh, you forgot
Uh
about those cards are so good.
so yeah, the two you got to start with their leading scorer, 5-star, number 8 player in the 2023 class, Jacoby Walter. He averages 15 points per game. He does it efficiently. He does it from the inside. He does it from the outside. 6'5", just a scoring machine. And then you've got senior guards. So you've got the freshman crazy talent. Combine him with the senior. Also, no, I'm not trying to say he's not talented, but Ray J Dennis, excuse me. Dennis averaged 14 a game, 6 assists, 44% from behind the arc. This Baylor team, they can score, they pass the ball, they move it, they just shoot the lights out. And then Langston Love, another guard, 12 points per game, 46% from three, great shooter. So that's these guards. They are fast, they are tall, they are a tough matchup. They shoot the piss out of the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, Scott Drew is probably my favorite coach in the country outside of Izzo.
Obviously.
Obviously, but I just love what he does. And it's the same. You go back to when they won it in 2020, right? That was it, right? Yeah.
2021.
2021.
Yep.
And it's the same, not obviously not the same team talent wise, but it's the same kind of script they run. They got these great guards, depth of the guard position. They got these strong centers that can play defense, and they're just really good, right? You talked about Walter and Dennis and Love and then Jalen Bridges, and then you bring in the centers. I don't want to mispronounce his name. It's like Missy, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Missy.
Yeah. I also don't really want to take
Yeah,
a stab at that, but 7-foot freshman.
he's excellent. He's been amazing this year. And then Chachua, he's been around for a long time.
Yep.
Another excellent player. And then Loner. And then it just, they have guys. They have the depths that we thought we had. So I'm not saying we can't compete with them, because I think we can, and we play our best ball. We can beat them. But they might just have a little too much firepower. And
Yeah.
at the front court, that's a huge advantage.
Yeah. And you're gonna have to have a big game from Sissoko and Cooper. That's just what it's gonna have to come down to. Or Booker is gonna have to play, or Hall is gonna have to play like the best game of his life, since the best game he's played since they played Seton Hall his freshman year. But yeah, Baylor, they average 90 points a game. So Michigan State, it's going to be Baylor, a similar team in in terms of style to Arizona, or just depth, balance, score the ball, just very efficient shooting wise. So we're gonna have to see the defense from Michigan State that we saw in the first half of the Duke game, in the second half of the Arizona game, but for a full 40 minutes. And we're going to have to see offense that we saw tonight against Nebraska, but they're going to have to be able to put it all together. And at some point they might be able to, but I also I don't feel confident that this team can make the tournament. I mean, in all reality, I don't expect them to beat Baylor. I'm expecting Baylor to beat Michigan State by double figures on Saturday. That would put the Spartans at 4-6 and 0-2 in Big Ten play.
No,
That
I mean, I think for
I
when we
like.
all thought at the beginning of the
Yeah,
year not to start, we all envision. I'll say that for sure.
it is a long season though. I don't want to get too overly dramatic. Still Hall of Fame coach, and the roster is too good. I refuse. Like, that's what I think is so confusing to so many Michigan State fans. Is obviously there's preseason hype and expectations with the preseason rank and the Sweet 16 appearance last year. But it's like it's that combined with the shooting is bad at the start of the year, and then as the offense starts to find their way a little bit, the defense starts to lack a little bit, and they just can't find a way to put it together on both sides of the floor for one game. And it's just so confusing with a great coach and a roster loaded with talent, with all the freshmen class that came in, and all the returning guys minus Hauser. It's just I just think it's just so confusing. It's guys are playing so much like Akins, I think, looks so different than last year. I think I saw a flash tonight. There's a play where Nebraska scored, and as the camera did like the quick zoom in shot on whoever scored for Nebraska, and then as they pan back out, Akins is getting the ball on. He's full speed running down the wing, gets the ball right around the elbow, takes one step, lay in. He would do that multiple times a game, it felt like last year. And I thought that was the first time I saw him do it this year. And defensively, he's always so active. He's such a strong defensive player. And then like what we saw tonight, just not really having it, allowing some backdoor cuts. And again, I don't want to put it all on Akins, but I think he's so much better than the way he's been playing. I think he's just not been playing up to his personal expectations more than anything.
Yeah, and I think Izzo's talked about that. He's been honest with Akins, and he said it again tonight, saying he wasn't good defensively, and it's how it's been. But like I think when you go back to it, like you said, I think tonight was the first time I think we saw them run. Even on the made baskets, they took boom, made basket, boom, off to the races. Akins down the wing, Hogard down the court, Walker down the court. The opportunities were there in the fast break, which was great to see. But yeah, like you said, defensively, Akins just has a couple of games. I don't know what it is, but they're gonna have to find something deep inside right now. They gotta check themselves because, and it's gonna come where the leadership is. I'm not sure, right? We kept talking about the experience of Walker, right? 5th-year senior. Hall, 5th-year senior. Hogard, senior, 4-year guy. Akins in his 3rd year. These are our guys, and it will be interesting to see how they bounce back from this because they've dug themselves a hole. And like you said, the NCAA tournament is no given, and the streak's on the line, and there were high hopes of winning a national title, and now you go from national title, AP top 5 to start the year to 0-2 in the Big Ten. A lot of question marks. So I think the leadership, from now on Sunday to Saturday, they got to check themselves, and it's go time. There's no messing around. They got to find a way.
Yeah, there is absolutely zero. I'm blanking on there's no wiggle room is what I was looking for. There's zero wiggle room the rest of the season. There can't be any more slip ups. And yeah, I'm not saying they're not going to make the tournament. They've lost 6 games or 5 games. They haven't even lost 6 yet. They've lost 5 games. They're 1 game under 500. Last season, they were 5-4 and made the Sweet 16. So hey, who knows? But I'm all out of stuff. I need to go to bed. It's been a rough one. Do you got anything else, Johnny?
No, definitely tough day for fans of the Lions and Michigan State. I'm not a Lions fan, so I can't say my team had a Monday night, so no loss today. But Saturday will be a big day once again for the Lions, right? Big day in Detroit. Got Michigan State at
massive,
2, Lions
massive.
night game. But it's, I think you got to see a complete performance. I want to see 40 minutes of offense and defense, which we haven't seen, right? And there's no better opportunity than Saturday. Huge non-conference game, last one.
Yeah.
Need it.
Yeah, I mean, you can only hope that the players are not swamped with exams this week. Let's say that. Yeah, so we'll get out of here. Yeah, we would have a reaction come out for that game, but like Johnny said, Lions play that night. I have work I'll be at the game for working for my Lions job. So yeah, it's big day.
Big day.
I'm
Big
sorry,
day.
everyone. I'm sorry for the listeners. Yeah. Not my best episode. Sitting in the dark here in my apartment.
Sad day.
It was a bad day. But brighter days ahead. Spartan fans, heads up. because Saturday we're going right back into it. So looking forward to that one. Not really, but they'll play Baylor Saturday. Okay. Well, let's get out of here. Thanks everyone for listening. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.